What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Unscripted Sports Show. I'm your host, Money E, and I'm with Chris. Cliff, and my brother Chris might join us in a few. Yes, he might. Yeah, here he is.
What's up,
Hey,
guys?
Chris.
Well,
Let me change this. Welcome. Um, this is the Unscripted Sports Show, episode 46. As I said, I'm your host, Money E. I'm with Chris and Cliff. How are you guys?
I'm good.
good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Pretty good. It was. It was a subpar wild card weekend. There was only really one good game, maybe two. Packers and Eagles, I guess, and then the Commanders and Buccaneers. The rest were blowouts. Um, what were your thoughts on the wild card weekend? I'll start with Kenneth. Kenneth?
Oh, all
Oh,
right. All right. I think you said Chris. I'm like, okay, you can go. All right. My thoughts of Wild Card Weekend was the Saturday games needed help. They were a complete awful. I mean, the Chargers was a big letdown. They didn't show up to play. I was surprised the Texans did what they did to the Chargers whatsoever.
yep,
Justin Herbert was complete garbage. And that whole Chargers team was like, why? It was a waste of space if you're going to give us that performance. Um, if you go to Saturday night when it came to the Ravens and Steelers, the Steelers was on a decline ever since week what 13, 12,
yeah,
and they just so happenly just got enough wins at the beginning of the season to automatically qualify for the playoffs, or they would have been. That was an awesome waste. I mean, the Steelers are not good, and if you ask me, I don't think it's this. I just think it's time for Mike Tomlin to go. Not because she's about. It's just I think once you've been there for a long time, you got the same person there over 18 years, and it's just not working out. Just like with the Eagles with Andy Reid, I think Mike
yep,
Tomlin needs to do the same thing, and it's time for Tomlin to leave and get out.
yep, exactly. I think a lot of Steeler fans would agree with you of that. I'm in the Discord, and there's a couple Steeler fans that want to move on from Mike Tomlin. It's just, I think it's just time. I think they both need it. What were your thoughts on Wild Card Weekend, Chris?
The good teams look strong and the bad teams look bad. Eagles look strong. Ravens look strong. Bills look strong. So
Yep,
I think Commanders annoy me. Yeah, Jen Daniels is great, blah, 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 blah. But how many games have they won that have been super close? I haven't seen a dominant win from them all season. And I can't wait for the Lions to smoke them. Even though I had the Commanders probably covering, but they're just so annoying. Justin Herbert's a fraud. 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 Um, CJ Stroud looked good. Sam Darnold stinks. He just lost himself a lot of money last night in 60 minutes. So,
I feel
yeah,
bad for him because he had a real good season, and then last two games he just stunk it up.
I feel bad, but also people were quick to crown him as a top 10 quarterback this in the league. People are so
Oh,
quick to
I
crown,
don't think he's top 10, but
like Jaden Daniels is top five, CJ Stroud was top five last year. It's like, can these players like show like good play over several years? And then they're so quick to judge Jalen Hurts because he's been inconsistent. But Jalen Hurts has had more good games than he's had bad games, but we'll get into that.
yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, I thought Wild Card Weekend was subpar. Other than the Commanders and Buccaneers game, which was really good. I thought Baker was a disappointment. Um, I I thought the Eagles game at times was subpar, it but the Eagles did their job. Every team did their job. All the favorites besides the Texans and Commanders won. So 4 of the 6 favorites won, and they won convincingly. And 5 of the 6 home teams won. So besides the Commanders, no, you don't. The Rams don't count. So 4 out of 5. That was a neutral site game, even though technically they were the home team, but that was a neutral site. Um, are you guys surprised that the Rams dominated that game like they did? I thought it was going to be more of a shootout.
I was really surprised. I was very, very surprised that the Rams totally dominated like that. I figured I had high hopes inside Sam, not because he's a good quarterback. It's the weapons around him. I figured that with the play callers, he was going to find a way, and we was going to have a good old fashioned shootout with Cooper
Yep.
Cup versus and Puka Nakua versus Jefferson and Addison on the other side. I said these 4 players are going to light it up, and you have Terry Williams and you have Aaron Jones in the backfield. Right there, it's your stars. They're going to shine. But I did not expect the Vikings to not show up.
Yeah, I thought because we didn't have a shootout all weekend. Besides, I mean, there was only one over that hit, and that was the first game of the weekend. Every under hit, which I'm surprised at, especially last night because I thought, oh yeah, 5 to 6, 4 to 5 games so far have hit under, so I thought we're gonna get a shootout because of as you said, the Vikings have weapons. They have Addison, who became a borderline star this year. He's on the verge of becoming a star. And then you got Double J, Justin Jefferson. I like to call him Double J. And then you got Sam Darnold, who had a good season besides the last 2 games, and I thought he was going to bounce back from last week. I thought that was just I thought that was just a bad game, but 2 bad performances on the big stage when you were the standalone game. Yeah, I think he cost himself, as my brother said, a lot of money this week. But it'd be interesting to see who signs him because who knows? Maybe the Jets will be dumb enough to bring him back because it is the Jets thing to do, and unless Rodgers comes back. But anything else?
Yeah.
Let's briefly talk about the Eagles game. What were your guys' thoughts? I'll start with Chris.
Yeah, we won double digits. Wasn't pretty at times. I think we offense just looked rusty. I don't think it was necessarily Jalen Hurts. Like receivers couldn't get open. I didn't really like the play calling, running the ball multiple times in 3rd and long. They beat them by 12 points, which winning by double digits in the playoffs is impressive in its own right against, the number 6 ranked defense in the league. So I'm more so concerned that they didn't convert their turnover opportunities. I think they scored on the first turnover on the opening kickoff. They didn't get any points out of the next 2, and then the 4th one was a garbage time interception. So if they clean that up, I think they're going to smoke the Rams.
Yeah. Cliff?
All right. The defense looked good. Now I will say everybody's criticizing Jalen Hurts. You have to realize this man hasn't played it over a month. No football
Yeah.
ever since the Washington game. So you kind of expect it's going to be rust. There is
Mhm.
going to be playing calls. It's not normal because of yes, I know you're one and done situation, but at the same time, this is good. The fake tush push when he missed with AJ Brown for the go for a wide open touchdown. That's something that's going to be corrected this week. I think push comes to shove, if you look at it, all the Eagles' record, when they go into the playoffs, they always struggle the first round and wind up in the second, embarrassing, and putting on an offensive statement. And I think that's what I'm expecting to see with the Rams. Saquon's
Yeah.
going to get his foot back. But believe this offense is going to really step it up. I think defensively, losing to Kobe Dean for the rest of the playoffs is going to hurt. But I do have faith in Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Yep.
He will step up in that role, and I think he is. He's going to make his debut.
It's his time to shine.
Yeah.
This game reminded me of when we played the Falcons in 2017 in our first game in that year of the playoffs. Yeah, as Clem said, we always struggle that first game in the playoffs, whether it's the wild card or divisional round. We did the same thing against the Falcons in 2017, and look what happened. We smoked the Vikings the following week. So, yeah, it was a good win, good hard-fought win. The Packers just look. I don't think Jordan Love is as good. I think Jordan Love is a good quarterback, but I don't think he's like top 8 right now. Maybe top 10. I mean, I know he lost a lot of weapons. He lost 3 weapons, 2 of his receivers, Reed and Watson last week. So I don't know if it would have been a different game if Watson and Reed were healthy, but yeah, we won.
We should
That's
do
all that matters.
at the end of the show. Let's do a quick quarterbacks ranking. I think that'll be good. Top 10.
Okay. All right, at the end of the show. Okay. Chris, you went 6-0 last week on your picks, 72 and 62 in the season. So you're catching up. Good job. I mean, great job.
Thank you.
And then I went 4-2 because I went different on the last 2 picks. We were opposite, obviously. But I did that to be so we wouldn't have the same picks all around, which actually we do this week. All 3 of us. And Cliff, you went 3-4 the last time you were on the show, so you're 20-11 on the season. And let's get into it. The first game this week, first game of the divisional round. The Texans are on the first game again. They're always the first game, whether it's a wild card or divisional round. They're always the 4:30 game on Saturday. I've always noticed that whenever they make the playoffs, they're always the first game. It's always an AFC South team too.
They always want to give them more rest.
Huh? Yeah. Oh yeah, and they had the most rest too. Yeah. Texans and Chiefs. Chiefs are plus. I mean, I don't know why I put plus. That should be minus. Chiefs are minus 8.5. No, they're not the underdog. Yeah, they were the underdog. Yeah, so the Chiefs are minus 8.5. 40 over under 41.5. We all have the Chiefs. Is there any chance? I'll ask this: any chance the Texans upset the Chiefs?
I think if this was like a healthy Texans team, I mean, we had Stephon Diggs and Peyton Bell and all that healthy, full-fledged Texan teams, I'd say hell yes. Well, no.
Yeah.
If the Texans defense shows up, there's a chance.
This weekend, because people don't want to see the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game again. I know I am, but I think the Chiefs win here, and they probably cover the spread. It's interesting that the 2 games on Saturday are both the same spread, so one of them is not going to cover. I'll say that. Chris, any chance?
The Texans defense shows up. Yeah, they got a chance. I think out of the 4 remaining games, I'd say, well, let's not count the Bills and the Ravens because that's a pick 'em at this point. But out of the 3 other games, this is the biggest upset potential for the underdog to win. But I still think the Chiefs win.
So you give the Texans a chance more than the Commanders over the Lions.
Yeah, I think the Commanders are going to cover. The Lions definitely win. I think it's kind of destiny at this point. I think the
Yeah,
Commanders cover, but in terms of just straight up upset, I think the Texans, if their defense shows up like they did last week, they can make some moves. However, that offensive line is very, very, very suspect. So
if this line continues to go up, I think I'm gonna hammer the Texans because I think they can keep this under 10. Between 8 and 10, I think they can keep this under. If it's close in the fourth quarter, I think CJ is that kind of quarterback that they can lead this team to an upset victory.
All right, I was going to remind you of one game, one score, 24-0. Texans over the Chiefs, and what happened? They lost.
Mhm.
57,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember. I forgot that.
24-0. And then not only did they lose, they lost the 24-point lead in one quarter. It was 28-24 at halftime, Tech Chiefs.
Still, I was watching that game live. That was still the craziest game I've ever seen.
That was 2 years ago, right? The year that the Eagles went to the Super
Like,
Bowl.
no, that was like 4 years ago. It was the
That was 4
Deshaun.
years ago.
Oh,
That,
okay.
that was the
Okay
when that
when the
was
Chiefs played the Niners.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I forgot about that game. Good point, Cliff. Uh, yeah. So we all have the Chiefs here, but I think Chiefs are. Chief, this is the year that the Chiefs could lose in the divisional round. I'll say that. Commanders and Lions. Another. This is minus 8.5 too. Over under is 55.5. Commanders are plus 420 on the money line. If you think Commanders have a chance. We all have the Lions here. I think it is kind of destiny that the Lions get to the Super Bowl. Last week, me and my brother both picked the Lions to get there, so it would be shocking if we didn't pick the Lions here. But Glenn, if I let you go first.
All right. I think this game right here has potential to be upset over the Texans. I think this one. I think people are sleeping on the Commanders, and don't get me wrong. I like Danny Dale, but I'm not believing in his hype. But I will believe in this. If this game is close as they keep saying it to be, I believe the Commanders can beat the Lions. The Lions they needed this bye week to get healthy because number one, half their defense is on IR.
Yep.
Number two, and don't get me wrong, I believe in there, but when you're playing a scrambling quarterback and you're not stationary like Sam Darnold, it's going to give the Lions fits. So when you're looking at that standpoint, I believe Daniels is going to take advantage of that. And I think Washington offense can take advantages of the weaknesses of the Lions' defense. Now, Derek Goff is going to get his just dues and keep it close. But if this game is close and game's on the line and it's in um, Daniel's hands, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going against that man. I believe that we might actually see a Commanders go to a championship game.
Yeah, I think they are the New York Mets of the NFL this year. The New York Mets have went to the NLCS against the Dodgers, so I think they are that kind of team. I agree with that. They have one. You could have seen an upset on Saturday because there was no upsets really this weekend. This past weekend, there could be an upset brewing on Saturday.
The upset will already happen this weekend when the Commanders beat the Buccaneers. All right, nobody saw that coming.
My brother did.
Yeah.
But Chris, What are your thoughts
To
on this
tell you
game?
the truth, that was a toss-up game.
It was.
Yeah, I agree. It's gonna be close. Commanders are gonna cover just because that's what they do. They're scrappy, but I don't call them lucky, but we've seen it time and time again. Winning on the last drive with one score, game-winning drive. It's not sustainable football. It isn't football, and that doesn't necessarily tell me you're a good football team. There's a lot of luck involved. The good football teams are the ones that honestly are boring, that take care of business, that win by comfortably double digits week in and week out, beat the good teams in front of them. And those are the Lions, those are the Ravens, those are the Eagles, those are the Chiefs and Bills. Those are the five true,
Uh,
true.
I gotta go against the Chiefs on that part. The Chiefs been like hasn't really blown anybody out.
Yeah, yeah.
This season
I
as well.
But they get a pass. They
They
get a
get
pass.
past.
Everyone knows they're still a good team, right? They haven't been blowing anybody out. I guess if going by my logic, yeah, they shouldn't be included in that conversation. But I think the Chiefs automatically get a pass. But I agree. um, so I think it's gonna be a close game. I think that's just what the Commanders do, and I think that it's kind of fishy. The spread, to be quite honest, I think it should be higher. It's a rookie quarterback versus the best team in the league, the best offense we've seen in what 10 and a half or 20 plus years, probably since the greatest show on turf. So I think it should be higher, but the Commanders are probably going to cover as a result. But the
And
Lions definitely win.
that's why I said the Commanders are the Mets of this season, because the Mets got some wins that nobody expected them to get, especially against our Phillies. But that's not here or there. So they found ways to win themselves. That's why I kind of compare them to the Mets. I know it's two different sports, but it's like that's what I kind of compare them to. They remind me of the Mets in that kind of way. And that's why I think it could upset them, because I think the Lions are probably like the Phillies. But here we go. Eagles and Rams. Minus 5.5. It actually went up to minus 6.5 after I did this. So it's minus 6.5. Over under is 43.5. We all have the Eagles, obviously. Rams are plus 225 on the money line. Short week, traveling cross country to a cold place. I think the Rams had their Super Bowl last night. I don't want to sound cocky, but I felt like that was their kind of Super Bowl in a way, playing for LA, playing for California. So I think coming cross country on the short week is going to be tough, especially in Philadelphia against this Eagles defense. And we beat them already this season. So I think the Eagles win by double digits here, but I don't want to sound too confident. But yeah, I am confident. Connor?
All right. So I do like to match up the Rams. But I will say this: I don't think it's going to be as easy as it was the first time around. I do believe that the offense got to still show me something. I just think we need to tighten up the mistakes on. I think the defense is going to step up like they usually do, and lead this team to victory. And I believe the Eagles going to cover. The spread's going to be the Eagles going to cover 5.5 points. I do have on with, but I think if the Eagles can make this like a 2-score games, they just can't let the Rams hang in there like they did the Packers at the whole game. I don't think Matthew Stafford is going to give you gifts like that, like Jordan Love did.
Yeah, I agree with that. Chris?
You need to take advantage of that.
I think the
Exactly.
Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to smoke them. I think everyone's riding this LA Fire tragedy, which it is a tragedy. Shout out to all the victims, but they got their win. People are, I think it's a Cinderella story. They're there's a reason we beat them without Jordan Mailata and Devontae Smith. When the Rams were fully healthy, we beat them by 17 in their own house, and it was probably closer to 24 because they had a garbage time touchdown. We still beat them by 17. Barkley ran for his career high of 250 something yards. So I don't know if Barkley's gonna have that same type of game, but I imagine AJ Brown's gonna have a monster game coming up here. So
Yep.
I think it's gonna be a comfortable win in Philadelphia.
Yep, exactly. And traveling cross country on a short week, especially to a cold weather place, it's not easy. Especially after you have an emotional win like that on national TV, everybody's rooting for you. As I said, no disrespect, but I think last night was their Super Bowl. Not to say the Rams are not a good team. It's just felt like their Super Bowl. Playing for LA. So yeah, shout out to the victims in California with the wildfires. Any more thoughts on the game, guys?
Man, not really.
I think the offense is going to look good. I think there's a lot of criticism on the offense this past week, deservedly so. I think it was more so on Cullen more than anything. I think they're going to get back to their roots. They're going to start. We're going to see the offense come in here. I think everyone's going to have a touchdown. I think it's going to be that type of day where we just get everyone involved.
Yep, exactly. And I thought this was going to be the 6:30 game. So, and the fact that we're the first game on Sunday might help too. An early start rather than a late start, because it would be like 12:30 in LA. So, Ravens and Bills. This is probably the game of the year in the playoffs. We all have the Ravens. I'm rooting for the Bills, but as I picked the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl against the Lions in the beginning of the year and then last week, so it would be shocking to pick against them after I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. But I've picked the Ravens. I think it's going to be a very close, tight game. I think it's going to be an epic game. Ravens win a close game, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Bills won. I'm rooting for Josh Allen to win because he's my favorite quarterback. It's not an Eagle. So, yeah. Chris?
It's going to be a good game, but just like it's destiny on the Lions side, I think it's destiny on the Ravens side, to be quite honest. If you remember, this season was supposed to be a soft rebuild season for the Bills. They weren't supposed to have this window open necessarily. They hit on their draft picks. Josh Allen's playing out of his mind. He's going to win Super Bowl or the MVP, probably deservedly so. But the Ravens, they were aggressive in free agency. They got Derrick Henry. They tried to get better, and they were going for a Super Bowl. So I think they're on two different timelines. I think people forget that. So I have the Ravens winning just because I think they're the better overall team. I think Lamar Jackson's also the best player in the league right now.
Yep. Clarence?
Well, we already saw what happened the first time he met Baltimore. How Baltimore just spanked the Bills all around like coins. And I believe Derrick Henry is going to do it again. I think Lamar Jackson is too. I think Cinderella. As much, I know Doug's going to probably hate when I say this, but as much as I hate to say this, the Bills' time has come. The Ravens' time is now. I agree with Chris. This was a Cinderella year for the Bills, who went above and beyond, way expectations. Let's put it that way, way above. They shouldn't. Nobody saw the Bills in this spot. I know. I didn't have them as my preseason picks. Nobody saw it. They pressed. But after the whipping that Baltimore gave them the first time around, I believe, even though it's in Buffalo, it's the same thing. Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry, and Lamar Jackson, and those two are like the carrot twins in the NFL. You can't. It's a unbeatable combination. I don't think Buffalo's defense can handle that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. There's a reason why they put this last game of the weekend, because everybody's going to be watching this. Um, I the line is -1.5. The Bills are slight underdog, so they're the only home dog this weekend. So who knows? You expect this guys to be a shootout?
I think it's going to be a defensive game, especially in Buffalo.
Cliff, you think?
I don't think it's going to be a shootout at all.
I say about similar to the Buccaneers game, maybe like 23-20, 26-23, something like that. I don't see a blowout here. I see a very close game that could go as a toss up. This is probably the most toss up game of the weekend. Obviously, but let's get to our best bets. Divisional round. There's no line on the over 125 rushing receiving yet, Cliff.
No.
Not yet, but yeah, that's a good bet. Eagles. I mean, Chris has Eagles -6.5, and I have the over 55.5. What game did I do that for? I think I did that for the Commanders and Lions game. That's for the Commanders Lions game. I have the over under for my best bet. So yeah. Cliff?
Yeah.
So you have the Barkley over 125 rushing and receiving.
Right.
Any thoughts on? Or no? And obviously, Chris, you have -6.5. You already talked about that earlier.
Yep.
Well, I believe that the Eagles going heavily involve Barkley, and Barkley had over 200 yards. So the last time that he played the Rams, I'm not saying he's going to go for another 200, but I know he's going to get at least 125 to 150 on the rushing and receiving.
Yep, I can see that happening. I see a big game from AJ Brown, because every time he doesn't have a big game, the following week he has a big game. So it seems like that. And don't forget Devontae Smith either. He could have a huge game too. Before we get to our do our top 10, Graham, do you have a Super Bowl prediction?
Well, I don't know. I'm still leaning into my rematch of 3 years ago. Still got Eagles Chiefs in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that could very well happen. I don't know if people want to see that again, but
I think so. Just like people didn't want to see him when we didn't want to see the Patriots. I think this time around we got something coming for it. I say we got avenge that loss.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be against the Chiefs and Chiefs Eagles. I'd rather see the Bills versus Eagles or Ravens versus Eagles. So, I mean, Bills versus Eagles would be somehow trash talking among you and me and Doug, Cliff.
Well, that's not going to happen. We gotta go to Buffalo next year, so I'll worry about that next year.
But if it did, wow, there'll be some trash talking for 2 weeks. But let's do our top 10. Since it was your idea, first, start with you. If you're
All right.
ready.
This is off the cuff. This is not like predetermined, so this is subject to change. Let's go number 1, Lamar Jackson. Number 2, Joe Burrow.
Okay.
Number 3, Josh Allen. Number 4, Pat Mahomes. Number 5. This is where it gets tricky because I think those 4 are pretty set in stone. Number 5, I'm not going to be that much of a hater. I think it is Justin Herbert. Number 6, I would go. This is right now. 6, I think, would be probably Jared Goff. Number 7 would be Matt Stafford. Number 8 would be.
Hurts.
I would probably put. I'd probably put Jaden Daniels. I know. I said to not crown him too early, but I think 8 is a respectable spot. It's not top 5. It's respectable and objective. Number 9, I would say Jalen Hurts. And number 10, I'd probably go CJ Stroud.
I like that. Kenneth, are you ready? Where do you want to go last?
So I will put Daniels at 10. I'll put Stroud at 9. I will go Herbert at 8. I'll put Bo Nix. He has some good games there. I'll put him at 7. 6, I will put Sam Darnold. No, Jared Goff. 5, I'll put Hurts. 4, I'll put man, that's really hard.
Yeah, top 4 is
4,
hard.
I think the top 4 is easy. It's just a matter of what order do you have.
Just put them,
Yeah.
But you know what? Because in my mind, I was doing. I had half, and then I had the other half, and I was trying to make it up the middle.
So no Stafford in the top 10?
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, 4 was Stafford.
Now you
Stafford.
have.
Then I had Jackson, Mahomes, and then Allen.
So Burrow's not a top 10 quarterback?
What? No, that's not Stafford. No. Burrow had 4. 4 was Burrow.
And where's Stafford go?
Stafford, I wouldn't. I haven't put Stafford in. He wasn't on the list.
Okay.
I didn't put him on the list. I'm like,
Or Stafford. Okay.
So,
All right. Good list.
for me, I'll go 10 Stafford, 9 Daniels. Oh no. See, it's hard.
It's easier to go the
I think
best.
they're on the
It's
same level.
like it's easier to go number 1 than it is to number 10.
Yeah. So let's do that. Number 1, I have Josh Allen. Number 2,
Maybe.
Lamar. Number 3, Burrow. I'm basically basing this on this season. So
It should be based
I think
off of
all are
the last couple years
basing this
right
season,
now.
This season right now. Right.
base spots off the season.
So number 1 is Josh Allen. Number 2 is Lamar. Number 3 is Burrow. Number 4 is Patrick Mahomes. Number 5. This is number 5.
This is probably tier 2 for most people.
Yeah.
Start of the next tier.
Number 5. Number 5 is. I guess you have to say Herbert. Herbert. Who am I
Most people
missing?
would put Herbert or Stafford here.
Oh, Jared Goff. Jared Goff, number 5.
Okay.
Number 6 is Herbert. Number 7 is Daniels. Number 8 is Hurts. Number 9 is CJ. And number 10 is Stafford. Do I have that right?
Okay. I like that. Yeah, that's a good list. It's a
Yeah.
good list.
Did I miss anybody?
Yeah, it's really hard to go from backwards. I'm like,
Baker. So honorable mentions.
But
I wanted to put
get back
Baker
to
in
this.
there.
We'll probably do this again, like an actual show. Maybe even have Doug on, so we'll have fun with this. But any final thoughts before we get out of here, guys?
Two
nah,
honorable
nothing.
mentions would be Baker and Geno. I think they're just outside the top 10.
Yeah, I forgot about Baker. Shoot.
You could put if anyone were to put Baker in the top 10, I wouldn't disagree because he's been awesome.
He's at 11 and 12, if you ask me.
Yeah, he's right there. He could be. I could easily replace him with Stafford, depending on what Stafford does the rest of the playoff. But Baker didn't even have a good playoff because he only had one game. But yeah, Baker's right on that tier of top 10. And what do you consider outside the top 10? No, I say 11 and 12 were probably tier 2 too. So that's where I draw the line for tier 2. But it should be interesting. And any final thoughts, guys?
That's it. That's all I got.
I'm good.
Yep. I'll probably be dropping a short later on for my picks, but yeah, we'll be back next week. College playoffs or the college championship, national championship is on Monday night between Ohio State and Notre Dame. I know, Chris, you have Notre Dame. You have Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
I have Ohio State. Quinn, if you have a pick. Quinn?
Take another day.
Okay. I like that. Going different. I like it. But yeah, we'll be back next week. Time to be determined, but we'll be back. For Money E and Chris and Cliff, we're out of here. Later, guys.
Yeah.
Later.
Bye-bye.